Hi, thank you so much for making the time. I really appreciate you making the time
Mhm.
for this conversation. I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to all that I'm going to learn from it and all that my audience is going to learn from it. So, you're one of those people who I want to say needs no introduction, but then again, I'm in the like clean energy space and I'm on LinkedIn a lot. So I really have to be honest and appreciate that maybe most of my audience isn't. So I'll give you the floor to introduce yourself, what you do, and where you live right now. All that nice stuff.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me, Granny. It's such a great honor to be here. I'm Iboh Shalom, a renewable energy professional. I say like I'm a climate activist, I'm a climate advocate, and I'm also a chemical engineer. I've been in the space for a couple of years. I started the space in 2021 when I got into the FL program, and we can always like talk more about that during the podcast. And from there, I think that's where my journey pivoted, taking me across all learning sectors of the renewable energy industry. And finally, I'm currently in my doctoral program at the University of Florida, and I'm working in the Sustainable Process Design Lab. Yeah, so I'm in Florida, Gainesville, here in the United States of America.
And that is incredible. And I hope you don't mind me asking because I think we are quite involved in a lot of youth things together. You're doing your PhD and you're how old?
I'm 25 years actually.
You are?
I sorry, is that too old or too young? Because I
Oh,
don't
I thought
know
you said
why.
25. Did you say 35?
25.
You're not doing, oh my goodness. How do you have your PhD at 25? That's just insane.
Oh, well, the thing happened is I think I started school quite early, and my dad was
Oh.
always very inspiring. He's an engineer, so he was like, I feel like you can do anything you want to do. You can study engineering, you can be anything you want to be. And that was it for me. I think I really needed someone to really believe in me and understand that I had the insight, I had that inquisitivity. Like I had very mind-blowing curiosity when I was a child. So, and I used to try out stuff. So, and I was really good in mathematics. I was best student for physics and technical drawing. So it was all indication like that I had a career path in engineering, but I really didn't know what else to do with it. So choosing engineering, I just went with the flow, and here I am at this point, and it's been very rewarding. It's been very rewarding. It's taxing, but I feel like I'm living a fulfilled life a little bit.
Oh yeah, of course you are. Oh my goodness. Even when we were talking, there's never anything that registered to say you're 25. That is very impressive. And I think it really speaks to something that I admire about, especially Nigerian families, how your parents really push on education. And more we see that
Mhm,
you occupy these spaces and nothing is ever a coincidence. So something that
mhm.
honestly inspires me a lot. And I don't know if I'll push my children to be academic, but definitely that spirit
Yeah.
of work hard at everything that you do,
True.
really give your all. So remind me again how we met. I feel like we met and we just kicked it off, and we just have been really like every time I talk with you, it's good vibes, and I feel like I know you.
True.
Remind me how we met.
Honestly, I can't trace exactly how, but I remember it was during the I Act. I think it was the I Act program or so, because I don't know if it was before then or after then, but I remember that I don't know who reached out to who, but I know that we communicated. The first time we spoke, we talked about clean cooking and the vibes around what you're doing and what I'm doing and how we can actually collaborate. So I really loved what you were doing because I started out a little bit. I started my found like my organization, Renewable Technologies. I was first focused on clean cooking technologies. So I did design a biodigester, and along the way I had a little bit of like complications with the system. So when I found someone that had already broken into the space, it was very inspiring to me. And I think I remember seeing you being featured on the Clean Cooking Alliance page. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, wow. I was like, wow, she got to be my friend. I got to vibe with her. I
Yeah,
have to speak with her.
I remember
Yeah.
my story is actually a bit weird. I hope I don't freak you out. So I really believe in God, and I've gotten just deeper in my relationship with Him. And one of the things that sometimes I can have dreams whether I'm questioning something. And I remember I was just thinking, where am I gonna take this thing? What am I gonna do? And I had this dream. I was on
Mm,
LinkedIn, and then I saw your name. And by the way, the reason why it was so weird, it is because I have accepted a lot of people, especially when I was getting to the space. I was connecting with a lot of young people, founders, whatever. So it's not like I connected with you because I saw a specific thing and I was maybe reading a lot about you. No, it wasn't that. You could have easily been lost in the, do you understand? Because you can accept
yeah.
people, even though they're doing great work, you don't really connect with them. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I saw your name, and then in my dream I was messaging you. So for me, I woke up, and then I was like,
Oh.
"Oh, that's who I'm going to like change things with." And then I said, "I think I've told you that before." It's a bit weird. So that's why even though like we have not taken strides to everything, I know dreams are not just dreams, and it'll be very weird to dream something
Yeah.
like that, right? And not
Hmm.
bring to anything. So yeah, that's when I reached out to you, and I remember telling my partner like, "I dreamt about this girl, so I'm going to reach out to her," because I don't remember. And then
Oh.
like, that's when I got to know more about you. And then I told you we could do this thing. At first, I just thought I knew I needed to do something with you, and all I knew how to tackle was the space within where I was working, right, clean cooking.
Mhm.
And then you told me you were doing something in that, and then you told me I saw you featured on CCA. So yeah, I think I'm the one who reached out first, actually, even though we were both on the iAct group. I'm the one who reached out. Not that
Okay.
about it. So yeah, lady, I believe we're still gonna do great things. So just because
Honestly,
we like put
yeah,
pause and we don't, I really believe that once we do something, it will take off. I truly believe that.
true. I
Yeah.
really believe that too, because the African space for plain cooking, like we were talking about, it's novel, and I don't think it's something that is going to carry out like in times to come. So whenever we start, I'm very sure it's going to be pivotal at the moment. It's going to be critical for us to be addressing those issues. So it doesn't matter whenever we start, but I'm really hopeful that that initiative will really like spark off like once we start about it. So I know we have a lot of things to do at the same time, but it's still on my mind. So not to worry about that. It's
Yeah.
still on my mind.
So I never really leaves my mind. Obviously, now you're not really focused much on clean cooking, doing your PhD and all. Tell me, what is
Yeah.
your current involvement in the renewable energy space? What you do? Talk about your
Yeah.
company, speak to what you guys do, and all of that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So currently I'm working on optimization models. So like I said, I'm working in the Sustainable Process Design Lab. What we do there, we basically design optimization models and use multi-physics simulation tools to design novel technologies and pathways for creating energy and chemicals. And we are focused on biomass feedstock for now. And my project specifically is going to be designing a biomass superstructure where you could be able to design and produce biomass from different, like, diverse alternative pathways in the most economically feasible manner. So I'm going to be running a techno-economic analysis and a life cycle assessment of the plant. So it's a lot about reading and optimizing the processes that are currently existing and finding novel pathways too, because I really want to do something that is groundbreaking. So I'm just going to put my all to it and see what's in it for me. And then the next thing I do is Renewable Technologies. I'm the founder of Renewable Technologies. I just realized that yesterday was like my anniversary for Renewable Technologies, and it's been 2 years. and and I've been in this space. I can remember when I started out quite alone, I was the one doing the graphics design, I was the one pushing the company, I was the one promoting. But right now we have like 5 people, like direct staffs, and we have like a community of volunteers that usually take out on our energy advocacy program. So it's been years of constant dedication, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds for us. So what we basically do at Renewable Technologies, we promote climate and renewable energy education. We collaborate with experts and business professionals, including industry giants, to speak to us about the energy transition, ways we can contribute to it, and how young people can build their careers in the energy space. Because they think that, oh, solar energy is solar energy. No, like there are a lot of things in solar energy. You could be a lawyer and you be in solar energy. You could be anything and you still be there. So with this renewable energy professionals, they help us to streamline how we can positively and put in your effort in space with the right skills that you have, so you wouldn't be all over the space. And solar industry is quite big, so you can be in the manufacturing, you can be in the batteries design, you could be in the installation. There are a lot of things to do with each of those industries. So what we do, we help young people do that. And then we've recently collaborated, should I say, it's a partnership deal with two companies in Nigeria. So first, we are partnering with Sirius X Energy to design an energy academy for like a fellowship program for young people. More of that will come up at the end of the year. And then secondly, we partner with Nature Way Technical Services to um, teach young people solar energy design, installation, and entrepreneurship. So the first program will be held in March next month for 50 girls in a secondary school. So we'll be teaching them how to do solar installation. And then the other thing we do is to also provide clean and affordable energy. So we are pioneering a solar lamp that is also going to be serving as a battery storage for mobile phone charging for students, because I really struggled while in school trying to find places to get energy to read. So that was the inspiring thing. I think that was what really drove my passion to designing, to start focusing on solar lamps and trying to make them as innovative as possible. So we are already in the pilot stage. So we've actually created the products, we are testing, and then we are making corrections, and hopefully before the middle of the year, sorry, we'll be able to launch that as well. And we're also reaching out for partnerships both in the US, in Africa, and beyond. So this is like what's the summary of everything that I'm doing. And then I've been in the space advocating. I'm a part of SDG7 Youth Constituency. I think I'm a part of the Wisest program. A lot of those initiatives that have really like fine-tuned my expertise, and I'm really looking forward to all that the future holds for me.
For sure. And
Yeah,
you're doing
thank
a
you.
lot, you're doing great. What I'm getting from you is that you're an academic, but as well as this entrepreneurial element. Do you think that being an academic in any way hinders your entrepreneurial pursuits, or do you think it supports that?
So that's a very quick question. Um, Honestly, I've been in the industry. I've been an entrepreneur for a while, and I've also just recently started academia. And I can tell you, all of it, I think they are all intertwined in the way that each of them serves as a supplement to the other. So there's a way to manage that, and you have to learn the skills to balance it. I don't think, although when I was coming here, I really had that fear that maybe academic pursuit might hinder my entrepreneurship idea or my business. But there's one thing I always ask myself: after academia, what next? So you must be able to think about what can sustain you throughout in your journey. What are you passionate about, and what do you feel that you would go on and do and be happy in it? And I found out that it's being an entrepreneur, being someone that provides solutions to people, being someone that inspires young people, females in the engineering space. I know that it's quite difficult to break into the engineering space as a female, but I feel that with dedication one can do that. So what academia does for you is to provide you with the expertise, to the knowledge. So there are some things that you might not learn as an entrepreneur, but in academia you can find that you learn it. So in my school right now, we have like an Innovate, UF Innovate. It's a hub for entrepreneurs, and we have lots of programs. I applied for the Equalize program, and although like I was not selected for that, but they paired me with someone that could mentor my business. So you can find out that it's not just about academia, like you can break into the business space through academia. And there are a lot of programs that really help you to transition from academia, where you can even like commercialize your research. So the research that I am doing right now, if I want to sell it, if I want to commercialize that, that's also possible. So you see that there is always an intersection with all of this. So it gives you a greater space. It just gives you greater responsibilities that you have to work on. But in the end, it just comes together, amalgamates to make you a professional that you really want to be, because it's not just about being an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you also have to be a professional in the space that you are, and that's what the academic field offers you. So it's not it's tasking, because I have to do a lot, being a lot at the same time, but I feel rewarded by the effort of my teammates and people that are also behind trying to make these things work. So it's not just about me, Renewable Technologies. There are a lot of teammates out there that makes it work even when like I'm not able to be available like every time. So that's how it's been working for me.
Yeah, that's really incredible. And pressing a bit more into that, I realize even on this in the space that we're in, they really respect graduate studies like masters and PhD. And
True.
so yeah, you have to
Mhm.
admit that even though you're an entrepreneur and you started a business, and we all want our businesses to be profitable, we all want them to have the impact that we envision. But there's also long-term thinking, like, okay, if I'm not doing this, what impact am I having on the at the high level, right? And do I have the
Mhm.
suitable qualifications to have that?
Qualifications to
That's
do
why,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm even going for my master's, it's for the same issue. Like, okay, this I can run and it can be profitable. We've already come up with business models and all of that, and we're operating on the ground. But long term, what do things look like, and what is my role within this space?
Mhm.
I will pivot a little bit to talk about international organizations. You and I have been a part of a lot of them. If we're taking a student energy,
Mhm.
anything SE for all, we've been involved in some capacity. And everybody knows everybody. That's why you and I we're part of like the same
Yeah.
program. Whenever I look at this,
Like 15 places and we're all in the same group chat.
I see Shalom, I see Sharop, I see like there are all these people that I know. I see Jane. I know that all these people that for sure I'm going to find. I see Primrose, Zimbabwe. So I know that there are all these people that I'm going to find kind of like in these spaces. What do you think that these organizations and these platforms are doing right? That maybe in Africa, when we're thinking about designing programs, you're talking about fellowships
Yeah.
that we could mimic, right? We could learn from, and what do they get wrong that maybe we should share away from adopting? Maybe just to speak on to the second one, my opinion, and then you can take it away. I always feel like it's a bit out of touch to have international interest and people try to solve for local problems. You cannot know my community more than I know my community. So when I'm telling you that access to clean cooking is the greatest clean energy issue of our time, that it deserves more focus, it is not because I'm working on it, but it's because it is a fact, right? Damilola, we all love and know her. She says something very amazing at, I know, right? She's so amazing. She says something very interesting at the Youth Solution Days in Vienna. She's like, everybody solar this, solar that, but when speaking to clean cooking, if you're going to give up the solar lamps and whatever, and you find that when they do the advertisement, it's dark and then they put the lights and then the women are smiling, but they're living in a shed. It's like, no, you're just putting shining a light on that poverty, right? But cooking is an essential, it's a must. If you can't light, there's something you can do to have a bit of light. That's why it becomes relegated. But food, that's is a non-negotiable, right? So when I'm
Yeah.
telling you that that needs to be platformed more, it's not a matter of because I'm working on it, it's a matter of because it is what's true. So I'd say what I think they're getting wrong is the matter of opinion, is that they come in, they're talking so much about hydro, solar, and not that those are not important conversations, but they're just like high tech, and throwing millions into this high end projects, right? And then when they look at clean cooking, it's like, especially where it's cook stoves, it's whatever, it's a bit rudimentary,
Yeah.
right? It seems like something they don't even look at. And then in the process, what they end up doing is creating more opportunities for the like mining firms, for like other big conglomerates. And then the problems that we actually have that are imminent tend to not get solved. But as an African, as a member of your community, you can know that intimately and you can solve for it intimately. But yeah, you tell me what you think, what we could learn from them and what we should shy away from.
Yeah, thank you so much for that insight because I think that was the reason why I started out with clean cooking in the first place. That's why I started out. Yeah, it's entirely because of this reason. And at a point in Africa, especially in River State where I stayed, we had waste all over the place. We had people dispose waste indiscriminately, even on the road. So it was a concern for me at that time. And I was thinking about ways to transform the waste that we had there to biogas. And that was the idea about the biodigester and everything that came about it. So I think that what the international organizations are doing really right is they know how to make their deals. They know how to close deals. They know how to run partnerships. They, you see, and that's one thing I want Africans to learn. It's not a competition. It's a collaboration thing. You can't try to be the one to run it all. You can't be in solar, hydro, biomass, wind at the same time. We have to learn how to collaborate. Almost everything that you see international organizations do, they talk with each other, they collaborate, they take out time to have meetings and decide on what they're going to do and what role each person is going to play. So I think partnership is one. Secondly, I still think that the same thing, like you said, and I'm going to reemphasize it, sponsoring high tech um, high tech innovations. So what they are doing right now is most of them are really high end innovations, thinking of ways to transform the space. And even in academia, what we are proposing is far, far from what the industry has right now. Yeah. So you figure out that, but that's one thing about international organizations, they're there. So even in the technologies that looks like it's high end, it's very robust, it's complicated, you see them daring to make it come to pass. Like you see them go delve into it and have their minds open, create policies that will enable those processes and embrace it. Even if they don't do it at a large scale, you see some of those things done in like very small scale pilot stages. So that's the thing. Africa, we need to open up our minds and embrace renewable energy as the future. We need to be more realistic. We need to create enabling policies around these technologies that we want, around these sustainable practices that we want to take hold, in our future, because without the policies, without the understanding that it is necessary. Just like we were talking about clean cooking, it's the same thing. Okay, imagine in Africa, we still think there's this myth that if you don't cook with firewood for your wedding, for your occasional activities, it's not going to be sweet. I don't know if it happens to you, but in Nigeria, it's a thing.
And
It's
it's
a
a
big
whole, it's
thing.
a
Like
whole look. I think people value tradition so much. It's kind of like they put it on, like they put
we
on the.
value tradition.
So then you'd have like the traditional big pot set on the fire, and it just has a certain look, I guess.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. And that's like where the merriment, the enjoy, everything comes into place. Everyone is there, happy, sitting by the fire. So those things are the things that we do not say entirely abolish them, but it's like understand why you need to transition. And that is why I give very great credence to organizations that are going to communities to teach women on the importance of transitioning to clean cooking technologies, because I know for sure, and I heard, I think it was Dr. Shegu Adaju. He was talking about one of the places that he visited, and he found a woman with a nice electric stove. The park was nicely erected as a shelf, as one of her lifetime achievements, just positioned there on her wall. They just came to her community, they gave it to her, she took it, and that was it. She doesn't know how to use it. She doesn't know what it's going to be used for. So sometimes you see some organizations, which is something that our international organizations do not have, that we need to really work on. Just like you were saying about, like, we know our communities more than them. We know our people more than them. If they go away, we are the ones to tell our people that this is the reason why they have to stick to these technologies. So the more we can, not just run after international partnerships, but really delve into the grassroots level, teaching these women, going up, following up those initiatives and mechanisms, we can be able to, bring everybody, collaborate with everybody, and bind that spirit of sustainability in them. The other thing, I think that's like the third or fourth thing, is investment. International organizations know how to invest. They know how to secure the funds, and they are not just sometimes they're allowed because they have a lot of declarations. During COP 29, 28, you could see a lot of those investments that were made, declarations on finances, but yeah, we do not see so much of it in Africa. So yeah, they are loud on investments, but sometimes, even though they are too loud, they still make some realistic projects. Mazda was able to sign a lot of those projects, for Senegal, Uganda, I think, for Rwanda also. So, and you see some projects like, I think there was one that was recently signed for a 17 gigawatts solar installation in Africa. So these investments, they are good. The thing also that Damilola is working on with the World Bank, trying to electrify Africa to a high level. So investment is critical, and we also need to know how to de-risk investment. We also need to know how to plan for those investments so that we do not lose them along the line of trying to make actions on some of those things that we have decided to do. So I think that if we can foster partnership, we can foster collaboration, we can really go grassroots, doing capacity building training for these people that really need to transition, because it's no longer high end. It's now people in the grassroots level that are really bearing the brunt of the climate crisis. And, many of these international organizations and nations, they already know what to do when crisis hits them. They know what to do in a typhoon. They know what to do in an earthquake. They already have their mechanism set. I think it was I can't remember the country right now, but they already have like prediction mechanisms for any of those climate disasters. So before it even happens, they already have the way to salvage some of those things. The adaptation mechanisms, they are very strong. So now we need to get that fixed for Africa and get that fixed for people at the grassroots level. And finally, investment. We need to also drive investment within Africa. Yeah.
Be very good at doing that. Or learn how to do it better, especially as Africans, not waiting necessarily for these partnerships, because I believe that we can mobilize capital here at home. But allow me for just a bit to play the devil's advocate, okay? Say I'm not someone, you always have people who have pro this and anti this. Say I'm not someone who believes in this whole energy transition thing that is going on, this conversation that's going on. And playing the devil's advocate, I'll say, for developed countries to develop, all of them had to use fossil fuels. All of them had to use this thing that Africa has abundance of. And we're now getting involved in a conversation where we're not supposed to, because it's unclean, because it's not where the world is heading. And if I'm playing the devil's advocate, I'd say, wouldn't that hamper our progress? Wouldn't that hamper our development rather? Because they used it to develop and we're not supposed to. And it is the most affordable way, again, taking that perspective, for nations to develop. And renewable energy and clean energy, not so much. How do you respond to that? Try to respond to that in 5 minutes and then we can wrap up.
Yes. I truly understand the worry, and I myself, I find out that when I was starting out in the space, that was also my worry. How do we really balance it? But I could also tell you that Africa has abundance of renewable energy resources. It's just for us to figure out how to make it as accessible and as cheap as and as competitive as fossil fuels. the reason why fossil fuels are what they are right now in terms of affordability is because of the mechanisms that are surrounding fossil fuels. It's because of the policies that are surrounding fossil fuels. If we can shift such kind of attention that we have on fossil fuels to the renewable energy industry, create the same policies, bring the subsidies in, work on the tariffs and all of that, we would also be setting the pace for renewable energy resources to be taking pivotal steps as our energy source. So we have the abundance of it too. We have the sun, we have the wind, we have hydro. We all just need to figure out the technologies and be willing to do the transition. And I'm not saying fully transition now because it's going to be difficult, even as a child when you give birth to a child, you have to give time for the child to win, take up milk, do this, grow, learn. So, but the child needs to be open to grow. Then the child needs their hearts to be open to grow. And that's what we need from Africa. Africa needs to open up more, to open up their hands more to embrace renewable energy resources. And we have what it takes to really work on the transition. And I believe that if we can be more if we can appreciate the change that renewable energy is going to effect in our communities, then I think that we can do this, and it won't affect so much of the economic development. But I feel that it's going to be a platform for us to still work and gain more as we continue our renewable energy, because as at the time that we are still transporting fossil fuels, we can still be the same people exporting some of this renewable energy resources. So we have the potentials, we have the resources. Let's leverage them.
Okay, no, I truly agree. I agree with that. It's just going one direction or the other, and wherever I think we put more focus on, drive more resources towards our intellect towards, we can be able to develop. So, in wrapping up, I want you to envision Africa 10 years from now. So, what is that best vision, that best picture that you can conjure up in your mind of an economically developed Africa and energy sufficient Africa? What does it look like, and what do you actually wish for your role to be in that at that stage? You'll be 35. I cannot believe this. You'll still be very, very young. You'll just be transitioning out of your youth years as we know it to be. But yeah, even at 35, what do you think your role would be in this important conversation we're having, and how do you picture Africa to be in this space?
Thank you. I would say that one person that really ticks all my boxes of where I want to be is Damilola. So she's at the
I
yeah.
know. I know.
She's at the center of it all, and that's who I want to be. I want to be at the center of everything that has to do with renewable energy, and I want to be a professional at that. The reason why I started my doctoral program was to gain this knowledge in diverse ways, and that's what my PhD is allowing me to do. So once we get finished on renewable fuels, we are also trying to integrate solar energy systems and e-hybrid technologies to driving renewable fuel production. So it's not just about biomass. We're going to be delving into solar, we're going to be delving into electric vehicles, we'll be delving into batteries and all of that. So these things are things that this knowledge will be pivotal in equipping me to be the professional I want to be. So in 10 years from now, I want to be a consultant. I want to be a renewable energy expert. And I want to be at the center of driving partnerships, collaboration for renewable energy deployment in Africa, because I have much intention of being one of the women you're going to meet if you come to Nigeria to talk about renewable energy. That's the kind of person I want to be. So the Africa I envision is the Africa where women are not left behind. Women are equipped with a certain exposure to knowledge, exposure to science, the environment where women are taught that it is okay to be in engineering, and you don't need to try to be male to do that. You would also be a female doing that. I want an Africa that is that I do not need to be scared of the night because of how dark it is outside. I envision an Africa that I do not get scared of, um, you know, being anywhere far from home at night. I just want an Africa that wherever I walk up, I can see the next person, the person being 10 meters far away from me, I can be able to see them. Energy is one thing that provides security, that provides that improves livelihoods, and that is an Africa that I envision, an Africa that has universal access to energy, and also an Africa that teaches us how to produce what we can use. I'm very proud of the initiative of the solar manufacturing plant in Nigeria, and I am hoping that more of those industries are going to sprout out from Nigeria. So I envision an Africa where we would have our technology set, the policies are right, the people are willing. Remember, Arena has forecasted that there will be 40 million jobs by 2025. So there will be much more for youth. There will be much more for there will be a lot of roles for us to play. So I want an Africa where people are not divided by any standards of living, an Africa where everyone prospers, even indigenous people are prospering because of the technologies that they've been equipped to run. And I also want an Africa where not just clean cooking, electric vehicles, transportation is safe, transportation is clean. An Africa where I come out and I do not have to perceive soot or air pollution. An Africa where the weather is nice, we are properly harnessing all the energy that we could get and being efficient at that. So this is an Africa that I envision, and I want to be at the center of it all. I want to be at the center of energy, of sustainability, of teams in the environmental space. So that's like what it is for me in 10 years. Yeah.
And I believe that you will be truly, knowing your track record and all the work that you're doing right now, I believe you'll be not forgetting that you and I, we will not only be supporting women, young people across Africa with training programs,
Mm-hmm.
with financing as well to impact their communities. I speak that into.
Thank you.
Thank you
Mm-hmm.
so much for your time. I told you this is going to be
Thank you
great.
so
I
much.
really appreciate I really appreciate you making
Thank
the
you.
time. Yeah, so next week it'll be another episode that I recorded, but this one should come immediately after that. So it's once a week, but just be on the lookout and I'll be sharing with you. But I really appreciate you making the time today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for your time, for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.